Can you see what I have here? It's Belinda from Belinda's Book Nook, and today I'm doing what I'm calling a back to school TBR. I told you I wanted to try to come up with some different ideas for content. I don't want to bore people always with the same old same. But you know, I've been busy with puppy and life and everything, so I haven't. But this idea came to me, and I'm not saying it's unique. I'm sure if I searched around, somebody else is doing something like this, but it came to me and I thought it would be fun to do. So what I'm doing is a TBR that is, I'm calling it back to school because what I did was pick the categories. Typically, you know, my kids are going to school, you know, history, math, science, English. Those are kind of the typical classes you have. And I basically went through my bookshelves and thought about like some of the books that would fit in that category and put together kind of a list of books that I'd like to read. This TBR will probably begin the first day of fall. I'm giving myself until then because, you know, depending upon how much, if I wrap up all the other books that I was reading, then I will start this on the, I think it's the 21st or the 22nd of September. And then it will just run. It's kind of what I'm going to be calling my fall. I may have some other books or some other book options and videos and things like that, depending upon what challenges come out, I think. But other than that, I'm just going to kind of plug at these books. So it's a lot less pressure. And so I put a little stuff here to kind of make us think of school. You know, I've got my markers and I have my scissors, and of course I have my water because, you know, I always cough. I have these, I love these Japanese highlighters. I love them. I've been collecting them for a while. And then a ruler, and I stole these from my son's room. So these are actually going to be used. He has started school, but they haven't started using all of the notebooks yet, but these are his binders because everybody thinks of binders when they think of back to school. And I have my backpack. So, you know, it's all my trusty little jelly rollers. I love those jelly roll pens. So anyway, so let's take a look in my bag to see what I've come up with for our TBR. And if you'd like to do it with me, you know, or if you have any suggestions for the categories, I'd love it. I would love to hear them because I'm always trying to add to my list possible book options. I also put inside of here this container. I love these. You can put lots of different things, but inside it I have stuff that you'd have for school, but also stuff you'd have if you're reading, which is Post-its to put inside of your notes. These are really cool. I found these, I forgot what video I saw somebody had these on. They are vellum Post-its, and you get this pen like this. It's like a black, it's like a Sharpie. So there's your, can you see the tip of it? And you write whatever your note is on it and you stick it in the book. But the nice thing is you can see the writing underneath it. Sometimes I get annoyed with Post-its that I put in there with notes because then I have to keep moving it. This is nice because they're sheer, and it's kind of neat. So I have those. And then what else would I have in here but some bookmarks? I've got these. Remember I got these. I think I got these when Barnes & Noble was going out. This is The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison, and The Color Purple by Alice Walker. Pen. I have in here some, these I use inside of my book journal and all my other journals. They're just like little decorative papers that you can add for a look. I have paper that I had stamped with bookish type things that I sometimes will cut out and put inside of my books. So that's in here. So see, there's some fun things inside of my bag. So there's that. Where am I gonna put it? I always have piles when I talk to you. It's you guys see me from here up, but down here I have like, you know, books and stuff in the ready. Oh, and the other thing is I have my folder with all my book stickers like that I make. Stickers like, for example, the sticker sheet here I make for my star rating for my book journal, and then I just peel it out and put it in and, you know, color in how many stars and other stickers and stuff like that. I keep that in this folder, so I put that in here to go along with our theme. So let's get started, okay? I know, and you know me, I'm going to only read a certain amount of books, but I'd like to read one out of each category. I'm going to give you some of them. I have some other options that I kind of pulled across. in particular, history came up a lot. I obviously have a lot of history books, so I had a lot of history options. But let me show you what I have right now. So for my first selection for my back to school TBR, I told you I'm still reading through August Wilson's plays, and the piano lesson has been on the list and not happened, and it keeps not happening. So that is put in there. I put the sticky so I remember what category I'm doing it. And I'm going to do this for English or language arts. I think that my son has language arts now. So I will do that for that topic. And I have, if I finish it and I want to read another one, I have a bunch of other of his plays that I've been collecting. So I can keep plugging away there. So there's that option. August Wilson, let's see, this one in particular, this was his second Pulitzer Prize winner. August Wilson fashions a haunting and dramatic work. At the heart of the play stands the ornately carved upright piano that has been gathering dust in the parlor of Bernice Charles' Pittsburgh home. When boy Willie, her exuberant brother, bursts into her life with his dreams of buying the same Mississippi land that his family had worked as slaves, he plans to sell their antique piano for the cash he needs to stake his future. Bernice refuses to sell, though clinging to the piano as a reminder of the history that is their family legacy. So that sounds really good too. I really enjoyed the first one I read, so I'm excited to kind of continue to dive in on that. So that's my English option. And then I have, okay, so this is one I have for history, and more likely that I'm going to read this one. I think this might be the one. I don't know. I'm not going to say for sure. But this one is How Black Women Broke Barriers, Won the Vote, and Insisted on Equality for All. And this is Vanguard by Martha S. Jones. This is also going to be able to count for one on my cart because I had this on the cart. So this is one that I wanted to read, and I'll read the back to you. I waited for this to come into paperback before I bought it. In Vanguard, acclaimed historian Martha S. Jones offers a new history of African American women's political lives in America. She recounts how they defied both racism and sexism to fight for the ballot, and how they wielded political power, to secure the equality and dignity of all persons. From the earliest days of the Republic to the passage of the 1965 Voting Rights Act and beyond, Jones excavates the lives and works of Black women like Maria Stewart, Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, Fannie Lou Hamer, and more, who were the vanguards of women's rights, calling on America to realize its best ideals. Now updated and discuss the latest developments in Black women's emergence as a 21st century political force, Vanguard is essential reading for anyone who cares about the past and future of American democracy. Sounds really good. I love the cover on this one. I'm going to put this in the back because I like stuff on my covers. It's really beautiful. So there's that one, and that one again is by Martha S. Jones. So there's my history, and boy do I have a lot of history books. I was like, well, geez, while I'm looking for the categories, here pops out another history book, and I'm like, yeah, that's, you know. This one I started, I don't know what month this year, and have not finished it, so I want to go back and get it done. And I'm going to sneak this one into social studies. I don't know if they say that, but I remember having social studies, I think in junior high. I think it was called social studies, right? So I'm going to create that category, and this is the book I'm going to put in it. And this is The Sum of Us, What Racism Costs Everyone and How We Can Prosper Together by Heather McGhee. If you don't know her, she's incredible. Go and Google her and listen to her talk online. Really, really powerful. I heard her speak at a book conference at Martha's Vineyard, and was just moved to buy the book and to learn what she had to say in here. And she also just started a podcast, I think on Spotify, with the same name called The Sum of Us, so you could listen to that also, where she travels around the country discussing the same type of issues she's talking about in this book. And so this one is really good. This one, it says, let me read the back to you. Heather McGhee's specialty is the American economy. And this could also be economics too. I think did I write that? Yeah, I said social science, economics. So it could be economics. It is economy and the mystery of why it so often fails the American public. From financial crisis to Rising student debt, collapsing public infrastructure, she found a root problem: racism in our politics and policy making that costs us all. It's the common denominator of our most vexing public problems, the dysfunction of our democracy, and the spiritual and moral dilemmas that grip us all. But how did this happen? And is there a way out? McGee embarks on a journey across the country, tallying what we lose when we buy into the zero-sum paradigm, the idea that progress for some must be at the expense of others. And that's so powerful when it says that, because she elicits like a lot of examples of how that is so, and how that ideology is kind of ingrained into the American society, and it kind of pits people against people rather than having us all work together. I remember there was a guy that stood up that was so moved by this book that he said this book just brought him to tears. He thought it was just the best. It moved him. It moved the dial for him. And I love books like that kind of, give you an ideological shift, a new perspective, a way of thinking about things. And I think that this is definitely that type of book. So this one, I started it. So yeah, I only got about 36 pages in, and I don't know what happened, but whatever. We're gonna get back on it. So this one will be my social studies or economics category. Okay. Then I've had this one for a long time, and I think I got it. I think this is the one I got for a long time ago. I think it was on the bargain table. I don't know, but it's Neil deGrasse Tyson. Hold on. And it's Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. I'm using this for science. And it's, listen, it's a tiny, I remember saying this before too when I had this book, and I said I was going to potentially read it. So this could be my science book. And this one, it says the essential universe from our most celebrated and beloved astrophysicist. What is the nature of space and time? How do we fit within the universe? How does the universe fit within us? There's no better guide through these mind-expanding questions than acclaimed astrophysicist and best-selling author Neil deGrasse Tyson. And so I will say no more. Really good book. I know a lot of people that have, I've heard online people that enjoyed it. He's written many other books since, but this will be my science book. And then math was tricky. Math was definitely tricky. So I came out with this one. And I think it fits. It's not a nonfiction. It is a fiction book that I've had for a long time. And I even have the bookmark of the thrift, the used bookstore that I bought it from in here. This one is called The Oxford Murders. It's a mystery. So I have it's two, because the English was a fiction. So this is another fiction. So I have two fictions on the list here. This is a fiction. And there's no rules that you have to have all nonfiction or whatever. It's definitely, you can fit these categories with fiction as well. But I thought this was good for math, because it says, a visiting Argentine graduate student finds his landlady, an elderly woman who helped decipher the Enigma code during World War II, murdered in the parlor of her quiet Oxford home. Meanwhile, his mentor, the renowned Oxford logician Arthur Selden, receives an anonymous note bearing a circle and the words, the first of a series. As the murders in the list of suspects begin to pile up and more symbols are revealed, the pair is drawn further into a calculated and deadly game. It would appear that someone is using these deaths to illustrate a mathematical theorem, and it is up to these two unlikely detectives to solve the puzzle before the killer strikes again. Reminds me a bit of Dan Brown, and I really like Dan Brown, the books that he had written, and I did enjoy the movies. And so I don't know when this one was written, because I remember after Dan Brown there was all these other books that kind of came out after that to kind of ride the tide. But I think this one, let's see, I don't know, when is this one? This one is written by Guillermo Martinez, and it's translated by Sonia Soto, and it came out in 2005, so it definitely is after, right? 2005. I don't know when the first edition maybe come out. 2005, so it definitely is after the fact. But I would be interested to read it. So that was the best I could come up with for math. So we have that. Now, All right, so the other things that I have that are possible books that could go into those categories that may get swapped in and out for one of those is I have for history, I have had this one forever, and I think I read a little bit of it too, and just dropped it, but this one's been on my bookshelf for a long time, and it's called Lies My Teacher Told Me, Everything Your American History Textbook Got Wrong by James W. Lowen. And this is what the cover looks like. And wow. Okay, this is reading stuff in the back. I remember that way. The way it caught my attention. Like some of the things it says in the back. Um, it says, the United States dropped 3 times as many tons of explosives in Vietnam as it dropped in all theaters of World War II, including Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Ponce de Leon went to Florida mainly to capture Native Americans as slaves for Hispaniola, not to find the mythical fountain of youth. Woodrow Wilson, known as a progressive leader, was in fact a white supremacist who personally vetoed a clause on racial equality in the Covenant of the League of Nations. So he goes on, but it just had all these things they like, and it has pictures, it has lots of, let me see. Ooh, is this the receipt when I bought it? Ooh, you can find out how long I've had this. This is the receipt. If it is, it's pretty faded. Wow. It is so, you can barely see the writing, right? Like it's nothing there, right? I bought this for $2.20. Oh no, that was what I say. $19. And when is the date? I can't see it. I did buy it from Barnes & Noble, but it's so, wow. Okay, so anyway, I never read it, but there's a history option. All right, another one, let's see, which I would call this social studies, is a book I've had for a long time as well, at least over 5 years. And this one is called, and I'm going to put this in the social studies category. I'm just, I'm making my own rules here, okay? So this is The Underground Girls of Kabul, or Kabul, some people say, In Search of a Hidden Resistance in Afghanistan by Jenny Nordberg. And this is the cover. The cover is actually stunning of this one. And I love it's the deckled edges as well, which I love. But it says, in Afghanistan, a culture ruled mostly entirely by men, the birth of a son is cause for celebration, and the arrival of a daughter is often mourned as misfortune. Abaka or Bacha Posh, literally translated from dowry as dressed up like a boy, is a third kind of child, a girl temporarily raised as a boy and presented as such to the outside world. Jenny Norberg, the reporter who broke the story of this phenomenon of the New York Times, constructed a powerful and moving account of these secretly living on the other side of a deeply segregated society where women have almost no rights and little freedom. It goes on. It just sounded like a really moving book. And I'd be curious, like, so when did this get published? How people feel about this book now. 2014. So yeah, it's a little while ago. So this is my social studies option as well that I have on my bookshelf. It's been there a long time. And now I'm going to tell you something. I did a cheat. I did another one. This has nothing to do with math, except the title says Long Division by Kiesi Lemon, I guess they say. I've been wanting to read this. I love this cover. Like, look, it's 2 stories. But I'm just going to use it for math because it says this. And that's how I could get away with this one for the math class. But it's told in 2 separate stories and written with sharp humor and deep humanity. Long Division is an ambitious mix of contemporary Southern Gothic and Murakami-esque magical realism. And the first of the 2 stories, set in 2013, 14-year-old City Coulson becomes an overnight YouTube celebrity after an onstage meltdown during a nationally televised "Can You Use That Word in a Sentence" contest. The next day, he's sent to stay with his grandmother in a small Mississippi community where a young girl named Baze Shepherd has recently disappeared. Before leaving City, he is given a strange book called Long Division without an author. He learns that one of the book's main characters is also named City Coulson, but Long Division is set in 1985. And so it goes on. And then the two stories, I think they converge. And that's how I'm going to leave it. I'm going to relieve myself in kind of blind. Just know that every time I hear him speak, he's pretty cool. And I know that a lot of people enjoyed it. So this could be a math one too. For science, one more option for science. I still have this one that I got when they did the Barnes and Noble sale when they were closing. And this is How to Avoid a Climate Crisis by Bill Gates, the solution we have in the breakthroughs we need. I still really want to read this. Mixed, people really liked it. Some people had some criticism, and I think that always is going to be the case with any kind of book like this. But I think I could still learn a lot. So this is my science option, another option. And my last one that I'm going to show you, because I could keep going on, my bookshelves are filled, is another history, because like I said, and this one is also from my book cart, so I could get book cart credit here. And this one is a hunker chunker. This is 400 Souls, edited by Ibram X. Kendi and Keisha N. Blaine. And it's a community history of African American from 1619 to 2019. He's got all of these different people actually taking each aspect of the story, of the history rather, bringing us from 1619 to 2019. I do also have the audio of this because I think these same people might narrate, and I'm all in for it. So I may read and do that with it. But I do want to get to this one, and I've only heard good things about it. So that's my history option. So these are my books that I'm thinking for my back to school TBR. Let me know if you're going to do it, or if you've done it, or if you have suggestions for any of the categories. I have English, I have math, social studies, I have science, I have economics, if you want to count the one, some of us, and obviously history and English. So any of those categories, if you have suggestions, I will take them. I just think it would be kind of a fun way to create a TBR as opposed to other themes. I thought this was kind of neat to just dabble. And it also lends itself to reading a lot of different kinds of books or different topic books. So I think that would be fun. And I'll begin this probably on September 21st, 22nd, and I will run it for at least a month and a half to get myself through it. And in the interim, I may be reading other things as well, but that's going to be this particular TBR. And I thought it was fun. Oh, look at my screen went out. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I don't know how much time I've spent, and there's crumbs in my backpack. I don't know how that happened. Probably one of my many library sessions where I bring snacks into the library. Anyway, let me know how you're doing, what you're reading, and I hope you all are well. Enjoy the fall. It's almost here. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.